Apple's highly anticipated event just wrapped up, and if you watched it, I feel for you. But if you didn't, maybe you're a little bit better off. It was an hour and 55 minutes long for what amounted to basically 4 announcements. They answered a few questions, and they raised even more. So, to save you time, here's everything Apple announced at its event in just a few minutes. The event actually started out with the announcement of Apple News Plus. Apple has essentially partnered with 300 print magazines, as well as the Wall Street Journal and the LA Times, to create a curated news service. The idea is you pay $9.99 per month and get access to Apple's curated news. It's everything they think you want to read put in one place. And I gotta admit, it looks very engaging. I mean, it's beautiful stuff. You get these live cover pictures and there's a lot of art in there. I appreciate the fact that Apple was talking about supporting journalism. This is all really positive stuff. I am concerned, however, that you're paying about $10 for 300 magazines. How does this work out for the print magazine industry? For sure, it's definitely going to change it. And when Apple gets involved, sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't. It's hard not to see this as sort of like the Spotify of news. We'll see how that works out in the long run. Next up were some big changes to Apple Pay, specifically the Apple Card. That's right, Apple now has a credit card. The bank is Goldman Sachs, the processor is MasterCard, and really, you don't even need the physical card, although they do have one of those. The idea is that you use your iPhone to pay for things all over the place. Why not do it through Apple's own credit card? This might have been the most exciting part of the event for me because I can see a lot of advantages here. They're promising no late fees. They're promising no transaction fees. They're promising some very compelling cashback incentives, anywhere from 1% to 3% of daily cash going back to you for the purchases that you make. And they're promising that the interest rate will be approachable. They did not, however, give details on that interest rate. And they didn't talk about what other incentives might be involved. They hinted that maybe some airline miles benefits would be included, but they didn't actually say that. I will say, however, that they're going to be giving big banks a run for their money because they're presenting people with a payment option that they need. They're giving people more control over their spending and their finances, and they make it very, very simple in a way that Apple does really well with. But like I said, there is an actual physical card. It's titanium. It's very plain, basically an Apple logo, and that's it, a little chip in the corner. And it makes sense, you still need a physical card because you can't just walk into most restaurants and pay with your phone. There is no number on it, but that number is available through the app. So if you want to read it off to the pizza delivery people over the phone, you can still do all the things with the Apple Card that you can with a standard credit card. It's just meant to be a whole lot better. So as more details emerge, I'll be interested to see if this is something that I want to get into. But I will say, I think you're going to have an iPhone to do it. I don't think that they're going to offer this for people without iPhones, which may work out for Apple if they're losing iPhone buyers. This could bring them back into the fold. Next up was Apple Arcade. This is a gaming service, the price for which was not announced. They did, however, say it's going to give you access to over 100 games, and they're going to be adding them all the time. These are not games that you're necessarily familiar with, and that's kind of the point. Apple wants to support a development community that's making games that don't fit the traditional mold. And they're giving parents a lot of control over what their kids can play on their devices. Which reminds me, family sharing was a big theme across all of this. You pay one subscription and your entire family can enjoy it. I'm less excited about Apple Arcade, perhaps less so than most, just because I don't see them competing well with big companies like Google and the bigger gaming platforms that are out there right now. If you love playing games on your Apple device and you don't care about them being huge titles, maybe that's cool, but maybe it's not. We don't know how much it's going to cost, and we don't know a whole lot about the games that you're going to be able to play. But Apple is betting big on this service, just like it bet big on all the other services it announced. And finally, the part everybody was really waiting for, the one thing we knew we were going to hear about, was Apple TV. And in fact, Apple TV's app has changed, and Apple TV Plus is being added to that. That's the simplest way of explaining it. The rest is kind of a complicated mess. So let's start with the Apple TV app. In a lot of ways, it is the content aggregator that we were kind of anticipating, right? So whether you subscribe to certain cable operators or satellite or even PlayStation Vue, which does live streaming TV, those are going to be folded in. You're still paying your subscription to those cable operators, and in fact, this works for Prime Video and Hulu as well, and a number of other networks we don't even know about, but it puts all of that streaming TV in one place. So yes, you're still paying a subscription cost to all those other individual services. It's not like you're going to be able to pay Apple to pay those guys. You're still paying for those subscriptions, but the Apple TV app is going to bring it all into one place so that you don't have to bounce around to different apps. So let's say you like watching Bosch on Amazon, you're into Handmaid's Tale on Hulu, and you're really into Game of Thrones on HBO. You don't have to bounce around to different apps to watch them. All of them are going to be right there in your face. Now, it doesn't sound like Apple is going to charge for that privilege. I think it's enough that you're spending money on those individual subscriptions already, but they're banking on the convenience to bring you in. And it's going to be available everywhere. It's not just for iOS devices. As we mentioned before, Samsung's going to get the Apple TV app first, and then Apple did confirm that LG, Sony, and Vizio are also getting it. So right out of the gate, you're going to be able to pull up your iPhone, find this stuff, and then cast it off to the TV. But eventually, you won't have to touch your iOS device at all. The app will be built right into the TV. And if you don't want to bother with your smart TV's app system, you'll also be able to get it on Roku and Amazon Fire TV, which is kind of a big deal. Then comes Apple TV Plus, which, oh my gosh, you guys, it took them 40 minutes to get through this. They basically amplified every single original TV show that they're making right now, possibly because there hasn't been a lot of public buy-in. Now, they did do a good job of painting a picture of very, very good content. I mean, these shows do look pretty compelling, so I think people may be interested in spending a little money to get access to them. But they did not tell us how much it was going to cost, which I am flabbergasted by. Yes, they have all these amazing TV shows. What is Apple TV Plus going to actually cost? And aside from those 6 or 7 TV shows they're working on, what else are you going to get access to? Fact is, we just don't know. But yeah, if you missed the event, basically you missed like 35 or 40 minutes of celebrities and directors coming out and talking about how amazing their shows are and how Apple's trying to connect people, foster conversations. There was a lot of buzzwordiness going on there, but that was pretty much all it was, propping up Apple's original content. So to clarify, we've got Apple TV as a platform rounding up all the content you want to watch into one place, unless that content happens to live on Netflix, by the way. Then you have Apple TV Plus, which is sort of the premium subscription service. We don't know how much it's going to cost, and it's going to get you access to a bunch of what look like quality TV shows. And there you go. That's an hour and 55 minutes worth of Apple event wrapped up in just a few minutes. Lots of questions remain, and at digitaltrends.com, we're going to keep an eye on the developments and fill you in as we learn more. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.